Welcome to my studio and to this sew-along video for our reversible hobo bag. I love to design beautiful prints for fabric, and for this project I designed a floral stencil so that you can create the exact same look and feel if you want to. I used a thick linen fabric, and for the print I used an acrylic paint. With this pattern you will receive a downloadable SVG file that you can take to anyone that has a laser cutter to have this stencil cut out for you, and you can create this exact bag like I'm going to show you, and you can choose your color, your look and feel that you want to create. Yes, so I'm excited. You'll see this is a repeatable pattern, and you can use it for anything. You can even use it to create a beautiful tablecloth or serviettes, and for any other bag. And yes, okay, so now I'm at home. I'm going to show you how to create this bag, or how to construct this bag. So for this bag, you see that you will need some batting. You are going to have the front and back piece of the main fabric. Let's call this stencil fabric the main fabric. Then I got a gingham fabric for the inside of this bag, but because it is a reversible bag or a vice versa bag, it's also a beautiful fabric, so you can wear it both sides. If you don't want to do it reversible and you want to buy just like a lining fabric, you can do that as well. Alright, so to get us going, you are going to pin your main fabric onto the batting. I used pins here. I don't use too much of them, but you can put a lot of them in just to make sure that you secure your fabric nicely. And now with a 5mm seam allowance, mine is about the width of the right side of my foot, of my presser foot. You are gonna sew just a plain straight stitch all around, like all around in the corners and on all the edges, also on the curve. And you're all going to do this for both of your main fabric pieces, the front and the back. Right, now that that is done, you are going to cut away all the excess of the batting. Just check nicely all around all the edges of your main fabric and just cut away all the batting. Okay, now for the next step, you're going to put the back panel and the front panel that looks exactly the same onto each other. And here I used fold back clips. I like to use them when I'm working with batting. It just feels more secure. You will see I'm going to use this all around just to keep everything nice in place. And then I'm also going to use some of my plain sewing clips just to make sure that everything lines up nicely. Okay, so there I come in with the sewing clips and just put them here and there where I feel that I want to secure everything in place. Okay, so now we're going to stitch with a 1 centimeter seam allowance on the 2 long sides of this bag, and then as well as the bottom. You are not going to stitch the corners or curves or anything now. It's just both the long sides and your bottom. Alright, you can take off all the clips. And I just always like to make sure that everything lines up. As I go, you'll see every here and there I will just check that everything is still nice and in place. Okay, so for now we are going to do the box corners. So you bring the side seam and the bottom seam of the corners together, with the bottom and the side seams facing in opposite directions. So you wiggle and press with your fingers, and then you will feel when the seam lines up nicely. And like I show you there, you can see it lines up nicely, one seam to the one side and the other seam to the other side. And then you clip it with your fabric clips in place. Where I use clips, if you are more familiar with needles, you can use that as well, whatever you feel comfortable working with. There I just feel and make sure that the fabric is all lying nicely flat inside as well, so we don't have any puckers while we sew. Just feeling inside everything is nice and secure. Alright, now with the 1 centimeter seam allowance, we are going to stitch both of this box corners closed. There we go. Good. So that's done. And then we do the same on the other side of the other corner. And here again, I just line them up, make sure both sides are exactly the same. Good, I'm happy. Okay, oh, and this is so nice to turn them out. Yeah, I'm showing you how nice the seams are lining up with each other, the bottom and side seams. And here again, you can wiggle a little bit, especially in the corners, to get your corners press out nicely. Work them with the hands, make them nice and flat and lay so they look beautiful. Okay. First part of your bag is made, and now we are going to do the ties. So once your ties are cut, you are going to turn them on the one long side, like 1 centimeter to the inside, with the wrong sides facing each other, and you press them on either side like I show you here. I use one of my magazines just to put it on top once I've ironed, just to get it nice and flat. Alright, so we do this with both the ties, and then after you've done that step, you are gonna turn the tie halfway. You turn the tie again and then you press it. And here again I like to use my book. And I forgot to iron the main fabric, so I did it there. Okay, now we're going to start with the inside of our bag. So we're first going to do the pocket. And yeah, I'm also quickly just pressing all the fabric for the inside. Okay, so here we're going to use the pocket. I used 2 pieces for my pocket of the gingham fabric. If you want to, you can also use just the lining fabric if you don't want to use the same fabric. And now we're going to stitch on the top and at the bottom. And once you've stitched there, you are going to iron both of these seams open. I just find if I iron all my seams open while I'm busy creating the bags, it just works so much better and nicer once you turn it right side out to press on the seams again. Just try this one and then you'll see what I mean. Okay, now we're going to turn the pocket right side out and we're going to give it a nice press again. And here you will see now what I mean, that when you press the seams open, how much easier it is to get them nice and flat afterwards. Okay, now using your pattern, you're going to mark your stitch lines onto your fabric piece of the inside that you're going to join the pocket to. And now we're also going to mark the pocket. Remember, the pocket is now a little bit smaller than your pattern because of the seams that you've put in. And now you mark onto your pocket also the stitching lines. And here I use a water erasable pen. I'm just going to connect my 2 marks to show me exactly where to stitch. Good. Now let's put it on top of the panel you're going to join it to. And just to make sure that it doesn't glide, just use a pin or 2. Right, let's take it to the machine. And now I like to start at the bottom of my pocket and I do a straight stitch all the way from the one side to the other side to secure it nicely in place. And this seam makes now sure that nothing falls through your pocket. And then if you think you're going to put a lot of stuff in there, maybe it will be best for you to do another second straight stitch line. Okay, and now for the seams that you've marked onto your pocket, for the beginning and the end, just go twice or even 3 times back and forth, just to make sure that it's nice and secure. Remember, your hands are going to go in there a lot of times, putting things in and taking things out. So yeah, just make it nice and secure. You can, if you want to, even do 2 lines next to each other. Okay, now that's done. We can start with the construction of the, let's call it the lining bag. For this one, you're going to mark at the bottom for the opening, because you're going to pull your main bag through there once you've joined the 2 bags to each other. And this again is the same process that we did with the main bag. With a 1 centimeter seam allowance, we stitched the 2 long sides. The only difference is here at the bottom, you're going to leave that opening to pull the other bag through. Now you'll see once we get there. Okay, now I'm going to skip. You'll see I lift up my foot, leave the opening open, and then at my mark, let the foot go down, and then I'll close there at the bottom. And again there, you don't do anything on the corners. We're going to do the corners afterwards now. Okay, so now we're going to create the box corners for the lining bag as well. And it's exactly the same process that we did with the main fabric bag. So you're going to take your side seam and your bottom seam, lining them up and having the 2 seams facing in opposite direction. And again, you will feel with your fingers when the seams are nice and in place. And again, we use our fabric clips to clip your box corners into place. Good. And now we do the exact same on the other side, on the other box corner, and you are going to close it again with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Once you've done both of them, just double check yourself that both of the box corners lines up nicely with each other to make sure that your whole bag is nice and square and nothing is off center or off. Okay, so here we're going to start now creating the strap for this hobo bag, and you're going to use your main fabric, and you're going to use put the lining fabric on top it with right sides facing each other, and we are going to stitch on the long sides a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Once I do the second side, I just want to use my batting, which is going to go inside of this strap to make sure that all my measurements was right. Okay, and again, press open your seams, and now we're going to turn the strap right side out. It's a little bit of a wiggly, but yep, you'll pull it through, and then you will also again just press it nice and flat. Okay, then I use a safety pin, and I'm going to pull the batting now through my strap. During this process, just take your time. You have to wiggle a little bit, but it's all part of the process. The main thing here is just to try that your batting doesn't turn around there on the inside and make like a cook sister, we all say here in South Africa. So it's nice and flat. And now we're going to stitch 3 lines on this strap. First, I'll do a 1 centimeter seam allowance on both of the long sides. you'll see there's some of the batting showing on the top and the bottom of this strap. That's 100% fine. We're going to cut that away a little bit later. Okay, so once I've done both the sides, I think some people will like it as it is, just like that. I like to put in a third seam, and so I just measure between the two stitching lines that I've already put in, or the seam lines, and then I go with the center seam. That's it. Looks beautiful, has a nice quilted feel to it, and it feels lovely in the hands. Okay, back and front. It's done, and now you can just cut that excess batting away. Okay, so for the ties, here is a process that I'm going to show you. There's a lot of ways to make ties. You can have look at a few videos on YouTube. This is the one that I use. I like it plain, clean, simple. So yes. So you can just follow here along on this video. Right, so once you've done the whole tie like I showed you just now, you are going to stitch like there where I show you. Here you go. You can see I've just stitched it closed. I cut the excess away, and I'm going to cut a little bit of the corners as well, because otherwise it's going to be too bulky. There we go. And now I'm going to turn the whole tie right side out again, and in the process you can just nicely push your corners out, or the corner out. You can even use your scissor. Okay, so now you can see it's nice and clean. And then just on my long sides of the straps, I give it a straight stitch. Okay, so now we have all of these pieces, and we're going to start putting them together. This is the exciting part. So you take the center of the strap, and you take the side seams of your main bag and you line them up. And again, here you can use your pins if you'd like to, and I like to use my sewing clips here. Okay, and then on that side as well. And now I take my tie, and I'm gonna use a needle to keep that in place. Remember, you are going to sew a 1 centimeter seam allowance later on, so make sure that you have enough space open at the edge so that your needle is not in the way of your machine once you're going to stitch. Just put that line both sides up nicely. You've got your center marked of your main fabric, so you just line it up there. Alright, now I've got the ties in place. I am just gonna stitch my strap onto the main body with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. You do that on both sides, and then after you've done that, you are gonna stitch your ties also into place, and that you are gonna do with a 5 millimeter seam allowance. Good. Just check them. They line up nicely. And just quickly tuck the ties in their place. There you go. Okay, now, I don't know why, but for some reason, I thought my camera was on, but it wasn't on when I shoot the piece or the part where I show you how to join the lining bag and the outside bag or the main fabric bag. So yes, yeah, I'm showing you now on one of my other bags. It is exactly the same pattern. I just used another stencil on this one, but further on it's exactly the same. Okay, so once you've put your lining bag over your main fabric bag, we are going to join the curves together. That is how I did it on this bag with the stripes. If you are following along in the tutorial, you'll see that on the one with the flowers, I joined the strap to the bag first, and then I did the curves. So it doesn't matter, you can use whichever way you like. Okay, so once the one side is done, we are going to do the other side. Here you just have to make sure that your strap is nicely out of the way. You'll have to feel it as well. You'll see now, we'll just double check that it's not in my way. Okay, so you line up that nicely. And this is now what I mean in the tutorial. You'll see that this piece I've joined. I've closed that before I did the two curves. Here you'll feel the strap is a little bit in the way, but don't worry, you'll manage it. And just push it out of the way, clip everything nice in place. This bag I also didn't do ties. For this one I did a magnetic clip. So that's also a nice idea if you don't want to do ties. I did the ties on the other bag because it's a vice versa bag. Okay, so now I'm closing the other curve, also with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, and now I'm gonna close. Yep, I'm gonna close there where the strap is attached. Sorry for the confusement by using now two bags in this tutorial, but yeah, it can also give you an idea how it looks when you use a different pattern or a different print. And I've constructed this one at my studio. The one with the floral that we're going to return to now was at my home. Okay, so now you cut away the corners for bulk, especially with the batting. And now you're going to pull through the main bag. Oh, and I love this part always. I've made so many bags, but oh, this is just such a nice part of this whole construction of a bag. All right, there you can see it's coming through. You see the magnetic clasp. you're going to love the one you're making now so much, you're going to make some more. So yes, there's a nice idea for you for the next one. Okay, here we are back to the floral one. I've pulled it through, and now for the lining bag, I'm going to close it at the bottom. And for today, I'm going to do a machine stitch very close to the edge. But the ideal will be like a hand stitch, so that you can do like a hiding stitch that doesn't show, especially if you're going to wear this inside out, vice versa, reversible, what you like to call it. Okay, and once you've closed it, you can put the lining bag inside, feel the corners, and especially on the batting here, I just feel with my fingers, I press as I go, and then I'm going to clip it, because we are going to do a 5mm stitch all around the opening. You can also, if you like to, you can do a 1 centimeter, you can even do 2 lines. This is all personal preference and whatever you feel you will like more. Okay, so once you've clipped everything in place, you are just going to sew along all the what do you call it, curves of this opening of the bag. It is just giving it a very beautiful and nice finish. So I do the one curve. Alright, there you lift the pressure foot and you turn your bag while the needle is down, and then you go and you stitch unto the end there. It's a little bit bulky there over this side seam, so just be patient. Let the machine do its thing. Alright, so then I take it out, and then I'm going to do the other curve, because otherwise my strap is in the way. Here you'll see, there's the one side is done, and now I'm going to do the other side, also the curve, and then the strap. Okay, and here we are almost at the end. And you can now just cut away all the threads, and there she's done. Let me show you how mine turned out. I would really love to hear some feedback from you. Please show me your pics, send me photos. I would love to see how yours turns out. And remember, you can, even now with this stencil you've done, you can go and add some color. That is the wonderful thing about creating your own fabric and get your own personality on your bag. You can do so much with that. Right, and now I've turned it around. Now my pocket is on the outside and it looks beautiful, and voila, you have a bag 2-in-1. And this size also is beautiful and lovely. It works so nice for almost anything, an everyday bag and like a small little tote. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you come back, and please let me know how yours turned out. Have a lovely and a blessed day. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.